So my mission is to walk you through a frame, a farcaster frame, which I just deployed. It's called revolutionize, and what it does is to communicate with a database using Prisma as the tool to have that conversation between me and the database using Prisma. And it's important for me to say that first time that I record a video like this, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I will try to explain you what is happening by showing you the frame. So here I will run my local server, node app.js, that is this server. This is only one route of that server, but this is the whole server, and I will run ngrok, which is a tool that allows me to point this server that I'm running locally into a HTTPS website, and this is what I will use here in the developer tools that Farcaster has for doing this thing. So I will paste that, which is the URL that points to my local server. I will click or press slash farcaster frames slash ravecaster. So I will load what is happening there through this tool that shows me how this frame will look like. So I click load, and what I'll get rendered here, when I click that load button, what happens? Farcaster or Warpcast, I don't know, I don't understand it completely, sends a GET request to my server in this route. Okay? Farcaster, Ravecaster. Which is that route in the code? This one. This is router.get inside the Ravecaster route, which is pointing here. Okay? And this index, if you go to the app.js, everything in this code is open source, so you can check it yourself. So here it is, app.use/farcaster frames, farcaster frame routes. Okay, so this uses farcaster frames routes, which is defined here. Const farcaster frames routes require routes farcaster frames. Okay, so we understand that we are in routes farcaster frames, which is routes farcaster frames index. Okay, and then this imports .ravecaster, which is this file. Okay, so I'm in the server GitHub repo inside the routes folder. Inside that routes there is a folder that is farcaster frames, and inside one there is ravecaster. So here I have this router.get slash, this responds to this. So when I click load, what is happening on the background? Farcaster or Warpcast is sending my API this to this route a GET request, and that triggers this code. And what does this code do? It sends back, this is res.status 200, which is, it means that it worked, and it says send with these properties. This is just an HTML, simple HTML, that this is the genius thing that the team created for us to be able to create these frames. So this title defines the title of the frame. I don't know which is the difference of these two. I just put them because I feel that I have to put them. Then I go to the OG image and the frame image. I always point the two of them to the same file, which, if you see, is jpfraneto.github.io. This is the repo and this is the file inside this repo. So GitHub is great for storing static images that you are going to use in your frames. I use it all the time because if you go to GitHub, github.com, and you go to my repository that is images, this is where all those images are, and if you click add file, upload files, you can just drag and drop here. And for example, this one, I drag and drop, and then that is the name of the file, commit changes, and then that file that I just uploaded, it's going to be available in this route. So I could put in my code that and that, and on the frame I would see that image. So this is very powerful, I always use it. So this image, revolutionize.png, if we go to my GitHub repo, this is the image. And you will see that this is the image that you see on the frame. So if we go to the frame, this is the image that it sends back, and this is necessary for the frame to work. And then we go to the important two parts of the response, which are the URL to which the post request is going to be sent. So this always is like a ping pong game. You know, you send something and they send a post request back. And you send something and it works like that. And how do they know where to send that post request? Because you are giving that URL here. Full URL here, this is a trick that I use for this to work in my local host and in production. And this is the route, farcaster frames / revolutionize. So if you remember what I told you before, this route is this one. Because as I told you, they are going to use this to send a post request. And this is the directory where we are at right now. So this is the post request that is going to be sent when the user clicks this button, random. So that random is going to send a post request here in my server because I told them that this is where I wanted the post request. And the random here is the text that is in this button here. So if I click random, what should happen? Let's say what should happen. I always try to code having in mind what I think will happen when I trigger the code that I created. And usually it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, I go and try to understand why it doesn't work. That's I think the whole challenge. So this is going to be the route that is triggered, post, and we are not passing any data here, so it's just triggering a raw transaction. Okay, because then we will see that we're going to use a trick here to send a transaction back so that we can add the piece of music that is going to be rendered here, add it to the user's library. Now we will see now, and I will walk you through all this code. So yeah, full URL I already told you before. Const FID equals rec body and trusted data FID to string. What is this? When farcaster sends you back a post request, that post request has a body, and inside that body there are different properties that are important for you to create the app that you're going to create. One of those properties is FID, which is here. So if you see rec body and trusted data FID to string, I like to work with the FIDs on strings. I don't know why I like that, but I prefer it like that. So I am trying to get into the routine of transforming my FIDs into strings. That's what I'm doing here. So this variable stores the FID of the user that click that button. You have to think that this frame is going to be delivered to any person that sees this frame on their feed. So any person can click this button, but all those clicks are different because the person that is clicking them is different, and that differency or differentness or whatever is established here among other things. But this is probably the most important part of this code because it connects what is happening here to the user that is triggering the transaction, not the transaction but the action. Yeah, so we have the FID here. We have the button index. What is the button index? In the frame you can have 4 buttons. Each one of them has an index. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4. Since this is the only button, this button's index is 1. You can see that here in the get request. Oh, this should be 1. I will change it now. See? So it doesn't matter. Yeah, that is important. What just happened is important to understand because this was number 2. So technically this button is number 2. If you see here, this is the button that triggers the transaction, not 1. So you determine which is the number of the button that is going to be here regardless of the you understood. So I will change that just for being more clear, but it doesn't change this part of the code because this is for when the user adds piece of music into the database. You will see here if the button index is 2, it will trigger this. And why is that important? Because as we will see now, when the user clicks this, it gets another frame with 4 buttons. You will see now. So total recommendations, this is the amount of recommendations that are in the database. Random index is just a random number from all of those recommendations. Then we are going to get or to query that random recommendation from the database using this query, await prisma.electronicmusicrecommendation.findMany, take 1, skip random index. This is what ChatGPT told me to do so that I could get a random recommendation. Now I want to display a random recommendation to the user here. So this triggers that randomness. All the information that is stored in this database is the last from the last 1200 casts of the electronic music channel, all of the embeds that have links to YouTube or to SoundCloud. That is this number. Total recommendations is the subset of that. And then we have this recommendation is this should be find unique, so that I don't have to do this. I will get only the recommendation. Okay, this should work. The electronic music recommendation in the Prisma schema, you can see it here. This is the model. It has the cast hash. So this entry on the database stores the hash of the cast where this piece of music was embedded, the FID of the user that submitted that recommendation, the link of that recommendation, the people that have liked it, and the person that submitted it, and the FID. I don't remember well why I did this, so if you can do it better, please fork this and make it better. So this also is important. We will get the open graph data from this link. And why? Because we want to display the image that is associated with that piece of music. you will see now that this is the image that is associated with this piece of music. So if I go to listen, I will go to that piece of music here in SoundCloud. You see that this is the yeah, this is. So if you like this one, you can come back and you can add to library, and it will add this piece of music to the library, and it will show you a new random one. And you can, here you have 4 options. You can go to your library, which will send you here to your Ravecaster account, and you will see all your, of course this needs to be better, of course, but you understand what it means. This one, if you click this one again, it will add this again to the library. I mean this, the one that you are seeing here. If you click new random, it will give you a new piece of music. And if you click listen, wait for it, you will listen to it. And if you like it, you can go back and you can add it to library. So now I will have all of those in my library. And where is my library? It is here. You can This is my library. This is my user line recommendation. And this one should be it. That is the link. One of these is for obvious reasons. But I want to come back to the code here, because you can see that here the fetch OG data is triggered. So if you go to that function, this receives as an argument the link of this recommendation. So if you go here, for example, this is a recommendation. You can see it has this hash. So if I go and I can see this cast where this was shared, this is not working. I don't know why. This number should be here, but fuck it. Submitted by ID. This is the person that submitted this recommendation, and this is the link. And this link, inside it, if you trigger a request to that link using this library that I found, Cheerio, if I use that URL and I get Axios, so here I'm like getting that link, and what I'm getting back, I'm getting the HTML, and I'm transforming that HTML and extracting from that HTML. I'm extracting from this link these 2 attributes, the image and the title, and I'm returning them as these properties of the object that is being returned here. So if we see here, the OG image and the OG title are the consequences of calling this function in the link that I said before, okay? And here I defined the button to text. Why I am defining it there? Because I'm saying, okay, the button to text, the one that is here, this one, its original title is going to be add to library. This title is going to change if the button index is 2. If the button index is 2, that button to text is going to be added to library. If you remember what we did here, we already clicked this link. And because of us clicking this link, we know that after that, when we are in this post request, we are in number 2. So we already saved. This happens after we saved the data to the library, because we clicked the button index 2. I hope that you understand that. So the next time that this is rendered, that is determined because of this, it will say added to library. That was confusing, sorry. I think I'm trying to understand how to explain this to you so that it's not confusing. Let's start again. Okay, I will load this. As I told you before, this is going to be rendered, the get request. We will see that it triggers the post request to the same route, and we will see that when that is triggered, this is false, because the first time that this button is clicked, it doesn't have the button index is 1. Yeah, I think that I found an error related to this one that I had here before, but now it's fixed. So the system will recognize that this is false, so nothing of this will be triggered. The button will say add to library, and we are going to send back the image that we retrieved from the OG tags from that URL. So we have the image here. We have the title that I'm not using that title now because I don't understand how to put text in the frame yet. That is something that I need to learn how to do. But we have the title of here, of this. And that is helpful. We can add it somewhere afterwards. And then, this is important. Recommendation.cast hash. So here we are calling the cast hash property of recommendation. Which is recommendation? Recommendation is this one. So so this is the recommendation that is rendered here. This is the first recommendation, okay? This recommendation has inside it a hash. I showed you this. This is one recommendation. Inside it has a cast hash property. So if that property is present, it's going to be added here. So the next time that the user clicks one of these buttons, only one of those two in the middle, because these two on the extremes, my library and listen, you can see that they point out of farcaster. You won't see something inside the frame because of these buttons. You will go to another website. This is your library in Ravecaster, and this is the piece of music on the platform on which it is uploaded. But when you click one of these two, the post request is triggered with a query param that is cast hash. Okay? And that cast hash is the hash of the recommendation that we are triggering a interaction with. So here I'm displaying this recommendation and I'm telling you, okay, this is a recommendation that you may like. You can say I want to add to library, or you can say new random. If you click add to library, that is going to trigger that inside here. The next time that this is triggered, because when you click that button, it is this one, it triggers this again. But then that again, you can see that this is the button 2 that I clicked. Okay? So it was added to my library because that is the button 2. It triggers this part of the code. So it looks for the query cast hash. I just told you that that cast hash, we send it here. So we can read it here. And if it exists, we are going to look for a raver. A raver is a person that raves. We are going to update the raver, which FID is the FID that we recorded here. We are going to update that raver, and we are going to like that recommendation that has the as cast hash that cast hash. So this is redundant. I will add here this. Yeah. And this is like an ongoing loop. You know, this, like there is nothing else than that. You can click new random what happens if you click new random? This is number 3. This is button number 3. So if you click new random here, you can see that it will trigger this code until here, until here, until here. And here it will not record that in the database because it's number 3. It's not number 2. So it will continue, and the text will be a to library because we will not override it here with added to library, and we will have it here, and that's it. That's it. New random. See, and listen. This is a new feature that they added now that is awesome. Like, for example, this is button number 4, and you see here the meta name, it's number 4, and the content is listen. The text that you see here is listen. That is here. The action, what happens when the user clicks this button? Link. It's an external link. This is a link. And what is the content of that link? Where does it point to? To the piece of music. Recommendation.link. So now we can listen to this piece of music and we can explore. And that's it. And if you click my library, we can see the code here. Button 1, my library. Action, link, again, and target. This one goes to ravecaster.xyz/user/FID. Which FID? My FID. It's my library. I'm in my frame. This is my part of the world. So I go to my library. I go to ravecaster.xyz, and this is my library. Of course, this will be more beautiful in the future, but you understand what I mean. Now I think that this code is ready. I will delete that the Anki. Sorry, there is too much. It's time to mint. Oh, yeah. No, I will not do this now. Yeah. Sorry, I'm cleaning a little bit this. So I'm going to add this to the date. What I'm doing now is shipping this code to production. Aloha git push. I'm going to push the last version of this is the front end, and that is updated already. This is the server. I'm running this server on render. Don't ask me why, I don't know why, but now you can see it deploying. Dashboard, Anki server, deploy, started. Yeah, this is the new deploy. I'm going to wait for that new deploy. Ladies and the gentlemen, with you, https://api.anki.lat/ I want to know if you remember what I need to write now. I will give you 3 seconds. If you don't remember, I will show you the code. This is the server, and we will see that the route is route farcaster frames ravecaster. So farcaster frames ravecaster. With love. Yeah, so this is running. No, it's not working. Let's see why it is not working. You can developers embeds, you can see it here. So https api.anki.lat farcaster frame slash revolutionize. Yeah. Yeah, this is weird. It looks, it works. You know, this is where you should see it. Yeah, so see, this is not working because it is sending a interaction here, but it's not working. Take one. Yeah, so that, I think maybe my database did not understand. No, maybe the server, like when I deploy stuff to render, this server, it doesn't upload, it doesn't update the database, the new push requests into the database. So no, I didn't. That didn't make sense. So when you update the Prisma, the schema here, when you update this, for Prisma to recognize that you updated it, you have to run this npx prisma migrate dev, and this updates the database. What happens when I click or when I do git push and update the code on render? It triggers a new deployment of the server because of that new code, but that new deployment doesn't take into account the Prisma migrate dev. So you have to build build it again with new cache or cache. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, you have to do that. So now I'm waiting for that server to be deployed. Now it's going to run, and if all works properly, this should run well. Like here I'm running it on my local environment, so it's the same but with that I told you at the beginning, and here it works. You know, this is no, it's not working. Find unique. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, remember that I did here, so I changed this one. Before was one find many recommendations, so const recommendation is equal to recommendations 1. See, this is the problem, because I was getting here, I'm calling find many and taking 1 and getting the random index, but find unique doesn't recognize this as an argument, so that's why it didn't work. So I need to look as if I was looking for many recommendations but only 1. This is what this is doing, and it gets a random index. Now it's going to work. So I will not even update what I just showed you. I mean, I will not run it locally. I know that it works and it takes time to upload. So now I will test it. I prefer to ship it to production and then test it so that it doesn't take too much time. So now I'm going to see the frame working in here. Random. Now I should see a random one. It's working on the back. Yeah. So this, you can listen. I understand. Listen. That is the piece of music. You can add to your library. You can query a new one, and you can see your library on here. And that's it. Now we need to wait for the new deployment of the server, which is happening now. And as soon as that is ready, I think that we are ready to ship this. So I will cast ladies and the gentlemen with love, https://api.anki.lat/farcaster/ravecaster, yeah. And with that, we should be ready with the new deploy. I want to see my dashboard. This is deploying. Another deploy started. Come on! This is why I shipped it to production before testing it locally, because I hate waiting for it to go to production. But it's deploying. So now we can test it once again. https api.anki.lat. Yeah. Woohoo! Yeah, this is not working because the server is not updated, probably. But it should be soon. Come on. Come on. That's something that I really like about frames, is the capacity that they give us to create something fast. You know, you don't need to spend days or weeks testing an idea. You can just see it works if people like it. Like, I am shipping this frame right now, you know, and I don't know if people will like it, but I think it's fun. So yeah, I don't know why this is not working. Now it works! Yahoo! My library. Let's go to my library, and then new random. Let's see a new random. We will listen to this new random, and we will end this video. Give me a new random. Listen, I want to listen. Oh no, it's not available, but we can get a new one and we can listen to it. This is what I'm talking about when I speak about serendipity and discovering things out of nowhere. That's what randomness is about. Thank you for embracing the weirdness, the craziness, with love.